I've been doing a ton of testing running my Santa Fe train around my track, and it's because I'm working on making a new power pickup or experimenting with a new version. And I feel this is going to be the new method of me doing it. But I wanted to share with you guys how I'm making it and kind of explain it a little bit so I can get your feedback as to whether you think this is a valid way of doing the new power pickups, or would you guys just prefer to continue buying the existing version that I make using the roller bearings? Because I feel it's real important to get your guys' views because you are the ones that are purchasing these and using them. Don't get me wrong, I started making these just for my own personal use, but I had so many people tell me that they would love to be able to buy a product like that I started producing them for everybody to use. And I have the product that I currently sell and now the product that I'm testing. And I want to show you the process and why I believe that this new version might be better. But again, if you guys think that the original version's better, I'll just continue to make it that way and offer it to you guys for sale. Because to me, the bottom line is it's more important that you like it and think it's a better way of doing it than it is what I like. Because it doesn't matter which version people prefer. I'm going to make either one for you guys, whereas for myself, I will probably continually play with, toy around, and tinker because I love to tinker with things and continually alter the different versions that I use here in the Lego barn. So let's start by doing a quick comparison. As you can see, they both are already the standard size. And the way that I make both of these, you can still, which this one I think was one of my old units, so I can't spread it out, but even with this new method, I would make it in a manner and fashion where you could spread it out 2 studs if you needed to. And like I said, this was one of my very first test versions, is the only reason there's not enough wire in between here to be able to divide it. But now let's get back to the basics and let's talk about my original version. With the original version, I am drilling a hole through the front bogie and bringing the wires up and through that. Now, I could even change that and still do it in this particular method. The reason that I originally started doing that was to make it easier for people to keep the wire up and out of the way when they're using the train bogies on the bottom of their trains. But coming in from that, that's where the new version and this version are different. With the way that I'm doing the original version, I have to, and let me pop this apart to show you what I mean. I have to physically take and cut a little bit of the bogie, the plastic 38339 part, back in order to make room for the bearings. What I am using is these are a chrome moly roller bearing, and then I'm soldering my wire to the bearing and then soldering a wire from this bearing to the rear bearing. And that's what's given us our connectivity. Now again, these are chrome moly bearings and they are roller bearings, so they roll very smoothly as far as the connection between this and the wheel. But the reality of the fact is, with either method, and I wanted to point that out, that all of the rolling effect is still taking place in the bogie part itself. So my wheels are stainless steel, and these are rolling against the plastic in the bogie. And something I might suggest if you're noticing, because with anything that I've built, I do notice some deterioration of the plastic over time. Like for example, this has about 12 hours of use on it. And if you wanted to make sure that you're getting the nice rolling effect, you can apply just a very small amount of graphite. You want to do the powdered graphite, and you could put a little dab in there and on the inside, and that would prevent any of the erosion from occurring from the plastic. But my big point is, with doing this method, is that I have to cut back this plastic piece. And it makes it time consuming because this is a very small and tedious thing that needs to be done. So here's the benefit of the new one. With the new version, I do not, and let me pop this one apart now. And again, these are the stainless steel wheels. The wheels have not changed. The design of my wheel is still exactly the same from version 1 to version 2. But the difference is I'm using brass bushings here. And because I'm using a brass bushing, the diameter, the outer diameter of the bushing itself is smaller in comparison to the bearing. And I'm just going to try and hold these together so you can see what I'm talking about. So between using the bearing and the bushing, with the bushing, I don't have to modify the Lego part at all. And it makes installation so much quicker. Now, I will note, bushings are a little bit more money than bearings, and part of the reason that these are a little more money is, if you're not familiar, these are actually a brass bushing, and brass, really all brass is a combination of zinc and copper. But brass actually makes for use of a better electrical conduit, we'll call it, as opposed to having the chrome moly bearings. So something I've noticed in testing is I feel like the motors are going a little bit faster with using the bushing. And with that, I believe personally, and again, this is just my personal beliefs with what I've been testing and what I've seen so far, I believe you're getting a better electrical charge through the bushing as opposed to the bearing, and it causes less wear and tear on your train motors. But again, back to the big benefit of doing it this way. Number one, if I don't drill it through like I didn't do on this one, what I did is I just simply used a 1x4 plate with 2 round bricks on either end of it, and I used that to put on the front of the front bogie, and that's what keeps my wire up. And it's open and free and can move around in there freely. But the benefit of this is you can literally take this apart. Let me show you. We can pop both sets of wheels off of this particular setup. And once I get the wheels popped off and out, now you just have your power functions plug and you have your bushings. And the reason that I feel that this is a better method in the way of doing this is, again, number one, I don't have to modify the plastic in any way, shape, or form. So I could actually sell the power pickups now. I can just sell this whip. So if your whip ever gets damaged, you can buy a new whip. I can sell just the wheels, and I could sell the wheels and the whip all as a kit. And if you're somebody that absolutely has to have new bogies, I can sell it with the bogies, the whip, and the wheels. But the benefit, in my opinion, is quite simply this. It's very easy to maintain, and if one portion, like the whip, the base, or the wheels, get damaged, it's easier to replace any one single part. Where with the old method, because I'm drilling it through, you physically have to unsolder everything just to replace this plug whip. You have to unsolder everything if you want to replace a bushing. You have to unsolder everything if you want to remove this from the plastic wheel, if you have to replace this piece of plastic. So I feel that it's a more cumbersome way of doing things this way, and I want everybody that buys this, if they have any issues, to be able to repair their device as easily as possible. If you know how to do a little bit of soldering, you could even make these whips yourself and just buy the wheels from me. Another quick note, and I haven't tested or tried it yet, but you could also easily make a single-wheeled power pickup doing this exact same method. I have not yet made a single-wheel version to test it to tell you if it seems better also, but so far with all my testing on the 4-wheel pickup, it works beautifully. But again, I'd like to hear your guys' opinions. What do you think? What do you think would be better? Because again, to me, it's more important that you're going to be happy with it than it is that I'm happy with it. Quick update, I did try a single wheel bogie and it does work as well. I wanted to test it before I posted the video just to ensure that there was no problems. I'll be putting a poll in my comments section so that way you can actually even vote on that. So it's easier for me to see the results of what people think would be better. Version 1 being the old way of doing it with the bearings. Version 2 being the new way with the bushings. And I will try and keep track of that. And I'll even post an update video to show what you guys decided would be the better version. Anyway, I look forward to hearing your guys' comments, thoughts, and opinions. And we'll see you next time on Bevins Bricks.